In this video, we're going to be adding a method called numEmpty to our tree class. What numEmpty is going to do is it's going to return the count of how many empty branches there are within our binary tree. So, an empty branch, basically, in this case, I didn't draw any empty branches because empty branches really don't point to anything. So if we wanted to look at an empty branch here, I'm going to say it's going to be dashed here. So remember that leaves tend to have two individual branches, one that points to the left and another that points to the right. As you can see in this little binary tree diagram here, we see that the right side has a value that it's pointing at, but there's no left side here. So this is what we consider to be an empty branch. So in this case, our top node here has one non-empty branch and then one empty branch. So we want to return 1 for that. In the case of our second level here, it points to it has two branches that point to values, so there's no empty branches there. The 7 has 1, the 6 has 1, the 9 has 1 because the right side doesn't point to anything. And then these very bottom leaves here have 2 because, why? Because they are actually not, their left and right branches don't have any values to point at. So in that case, we'd return 2 for the number of empty branches that we see there. So, moving on, what do we want to do? Well, first off, let's think about the return type. Well, because we're counting the number of empty branches that we have in our method, we're going to use the type of integer. So let's get started. Public int number of empty branches. So what are we going to do? We're going to return an integer type, but we want to return our public method here. So empty, and it's going to take in a root. Why? Because we want to know as to whether or not the root has something to point at. So we're going to return that. Struggling here. And so we go down to our private method here. It's going to be of the type integer, number empty. It's going to take a int tree node as our parameter, and we're going to say root. And what do we want to do in this case? Well, as we've discovered before, we always have a base case where the root is null. So we want to test for that. So if root is equal to null, then we want to return, let's think about this. Yeah, if the root is equal to null, then at that point we have one empty tree that we're looking at. I forgot to mention that earlier. What happens if we don't have any of this? Well, we just have an empty tree. Then in that case, we know that we have one empty root, so we want to return 1 because we know that it's empty. So, other than that, we don't have any special cases. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to return our method, and we'll want to look at the left side and then the right side of the branches here to see as to whether or not they're empty. And that should do it for this video. See you guys in the next video.